My guest today is Patty Spitler, who is a television host, reporter, and producer for Pet Pals TV and Great Day TV. Patty has had a 40-year career in radio and TV broadcasting. She was one of the first female radio disc jockeys in the country in the 1970s. She is here to share her inspirational story with us. Welcome to my show, Patty.
Hello there, James. It's so good to see
It's good
you.
to
Look
see
at
you
this,
as
the
well.
new normal.
I know, it's
Look at
crazy.
this. And you helped me get my Skype up and going. Thank you very much.
It's so
Okay, Boomer. Thank you.
it's so funny. I always have so many people on here who are great, amazing people like you, but sometimes they're not as tech savvy. So I'm like, it's totally fine. That's my job to help people as well. Now you were
You
one of
gotta laugh.
the I know, right? Now you were one of the first disc jockeys in the 1970s. That is such an incredible, groundbreaking work for you. How was it for you back then?
Well, it was college, and
Hmm.
I was a theater major, but can't sing or dance, so I figured this isn't going to work. Only child, used to being in a room alone with a
Uh-huh.
microphone and a turntable. That was pretty good. So it was like 1972, and there were other female disc jockeys, but I was the first morning female disc
Oh,
jockey.
interesting.
They had all been men. And I had done the news too, but for the woman to be the disc jockey
Hmm.
was a little disconcerting. And I must say there were some people who didn't like it either.
Yeah,
We don't want to hear a woman in the morning. We don't want to hear because they weren't used to it. Now we hear it all the time.
sure.
And again, getting to the whole business and then from radio into TV, there just weren't that many of us.
Hmm.
I must say though, I have had the help of very generous men who have been kind to me all the way through. I know that there are some people in the Me Too
Hmm.
generation who
Yeah.
were like, I didn't have any of that. I was never threatened. I
Hmm.
was always helped by them, and
Good.
I knew that I think they recognized that I could work hard. I might have not been the brightest, but I was the hardest worker, and so that took me through many, many years and many wonderful experiences. And I got to cover the celebrity beat and the
Oh,
Hollywood, and
really? Well, tell
and
me
now
about
I do
that.
a pet show. So
Yeah, tell me about that. So the
with
celebrity beat. The celebrity, we'll get to your pet show in just a minute. But tell me about the celebrity beat.
celebrity Wish TV, and I came to Wish TV in 1982 to do a talk show called Indianapolis Afternoon. Then that folded, and I went into the newsroom.
Uh-huh.
I actually did weather for a while. Oh
Really?
gosh, it was horrible. I didn't know which side.
You're
I wasn't
pointing
a
at whatever.
meteorologist. I was the weather.
I gotcha.
We got fronts coming in. I don't know. So anyway, I
Patty,
did the
that's
weather for a
hysterical.
while. It was about a year and a half. And then it opened up, and I got a phone call. Would I like to cover the Hollywood beat?
Uh-huh.
And at that time, they were picking like one person from every state, and
Oh.
Indianapolis, pretty big city. Um, so I went, and my first interview in Hollywood was Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
Wow.
and Mel Gibson, Tina
Tina
Turner.
Turner,
Oh my
yeah.
intern. It was wonderful. And from there, it grew. So I did it for about 20, 22 years. I would travel. What I did, and I anchored the noon news as well. So I worked Monday through Friday reporting and doing the
Hmm.
news on Wish TV. Then on the weekends, I would fly to New York or LA and
Oh,
interview the stars and do a movie and come back. And then that would be on my movie reviews, which would air at about 11 o'clock in the
wow.
evening. So I was working 7 days a week, but
Yeah.
you know what? It was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. So there, I got to interview wonderful people, Morgan Freeman, Harrison Ford. Oh my gosh, Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep, by the
Wow.
way, is married to a gentleman from Indiana,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Don Gummer. Don Gummer is an artist, so
Oh,
she
wow.
drops into Indiana once in a while. So anybody who is anybody, Brad Pitt, Bruce Willis,
So for how long did
just
you
some amazing
cover all that? Because some of these are maybe more newer celebrities.
23,
Oh,
about 20,
20.
about
Holy
21 movies
moly.
out of the 20.
Wow.
My last, I have a hearing disability. It's called Meniere's
Hmm.
disease. Have you heard of
Yeah, I
that?
have heard of that before. Yeah.
Okay. It's water. We've got a lot of water in our
Hmm.
bodies, and your ear has some water in it. And when that gets a little screwy, it can cause you to be a little lightheaded,
Sure.
dizzy blonde. And my first attack was 1987, and it progressed some.
Hmm.
And it went bilateral. So December
Oh goodness.
24th of 2004, I go. I've had it. I was supposed to interview an opera singer, and
Wow.
I thought if I do this, It's either I'll either have to take my hearing aids out and I won't be able to hear and I can fake it, or I'm going to put them in and it's going to hurt.
Oh.
So I quit and then I thought, what is it that I want? I'm going to get something here. What
Sure.
is it that I want that I had always loved animals. I thought, what did I have at 5 years old
Yeah.
before I started working,
Uh-huh.
all this traveling? What made me happy? And I found a picture of myself when I was a child
Oh, wow.
with our dog. That's Duke.
Yeah. My listeners won't be able to see
Duke.
this, but she's holding up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yeah. So when
Duke
this
is a
switches to radio, they
collie
won't hear
mix.
it. Yeah. A collie mix. Yeah. It's a beautiful
A
dog.
collie mix. And I thought, I've always had cats, but with cats, you can go and have someone look in on
Mm-hmm.
them and they're okay. With dog, you got to be there. So I got a dog, went to the dog park for about 5 years, because then people didn't say, who are you? They'd say, tell me about your dog.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a
I
dog.
know.
And then
Nobody
they
ever
came to
recognizes me. They
2000.
recognize my dog.
I know they don't. And most dog people, I still do that. I remember the dog's name and I don't remember
Yeah.
their name.
I'm always the same
So
way. Yeah.
they came to me 2009. One of my old producers knocked on the door and said, "You want to do a pet show?" And then from there, that's 11 years we've been doing the
Wow.
pet show,
That is amazing.
and about 4 years doing Great Day TV. So I'm busy, and I
Yes,
volunteer
you
for
are.
all I do now.
Yeah, and I want to
There's a
jump into the volunteering in just a second. But going back to, you have this long-lasting career of interviewing all these people. All of a sudden, you have the bilateral aspect for your hearing. How is that for you to say, I need to stop? I mean, because that was your identity for so long, and then all of a sudden
uh,
something changed. So how was that for you?
it's hard.
I bet.
It was hard. It was hard. I'll tell you, I was. Which is funny. This is happening now because there's a friend of mine. They want to write a book about my life story.
Mm-hmm.
Because so you don't have to be in it now. The It was hard when I quit. I was taking too many pills. I was doctor shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 psychologists and 1 psychiatrist. I was ordering sleeping pills over the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and it was because I went from, oh, Patty, we need you here,
Oh,
here,
I
here,
understand.
to
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
And part of that was my own doing. I also pushed people away.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a sign, as you know,
Yes.
of there's something seriously
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I was starting to give away some of my possessions too. I was getting ready to kind of check out.
Yeah. So in a
And
way,
then,
this was, as painful as this was, that, anything can be a stumbling block or a stepping stone. So as painful as it was, now as you had that the re-identity of who you were, saw the picture of you as a little girl at 5 years old with a border collie mix, and then now it just transitioned you and launched you into something that you completely love, which is a beautiful
the
beautiful thing.
thread that I see going through this, number one, I enjoy what I do. I
Yeah.
enjoy, talking to people like you. How else would I get to do something this cool? This is great. But I also now, since I understand the media, I can shine a spotlight on things that need to be covered. For instance, in the pet world.
Mm-hmm.
So although I'm not a vet, I'm not a rescue or a shelter. But I can find people
Correct.
who
Can
do
connect it,
that
yes.
and refer when somebody says, Patty, I need help with this.
Mm-hmm.
What do? I found a possum under my deck. Who do I
Yeah.
call? Well, Wildlife Utopia. Or go to the Humane Society, or look up, know your breed, know what kind of dog you're getting. A mini Schnauzer is not like a Chihuahua or a Husky. They have
Right.
different
Yes, they
different
certainly do.
needs.
They certainly do.
So know what you're getting and take care of it for
Yeah.
life. And that's kind of my mission now. So how lucky
Yeah.
am I?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I'm really very lucky. I thought this was the worst thing that could happen to me, to be in a hearing intensive field.
Uh-huh.
When I was doing the news, when I always say, when fatal fire sounds like flat tire, it's time to
Oh
get out.
goodness,
Business.
yes. Oh my gosh,
Because you
yeah.
can't say it again. You can't. You got to get it right the first
Mhm.
time, and I understand that.
You certainly do.
But now I can say, was your dog's name Fluffy or Fido? And plus, I tell everybody,
Yeah.
it's part of my shtick that everybody knows. Oh, Patty, she has hearing loss. It's, some people call Meniere's disease the Patty disease. I had
Oh
first
really?
book say,
Wow.
my father has the Patty disease. So when you're working, as you know, and you're on camera with a role that it couldn't be a part of my everyday
Yeah.
talking about it, but now I can, and I can help people with that too.
Mhm.
I am on the board for Here Indiana, which also helps kids who have hearing loss, and I'm also a spokesperson for NAMI,
Oh,
National
NAMI,
Association.
yes.
on
Yes.
mental illness
Yes. I love
uh,
Naomi.
for people who have depression. And
Mm-hmm.
let me say, for the time that we're going through now with this virus,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that the suicide prevention hotline calls have gone skyrocketing.
I didn't realize
People
that.
need help,
Yeah.
depression, and I understand that. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, the best thing is my pets, and that helps you then connect to
Yes.
people.
Yes. And now,
So
since my show syndicates so many times and it'll be recycled throughout the years, at the time of this interview, my listeners, we are actually going through quarantine, like Patty said. So when you hear this again in the future, always feel free to know that the suicide prevention hotline is always there for you as well. So it's not just times of pandemic or epidemic; it is always there for you. And so
yes,
that's something that we
yes,
always want to remind people of, that there are always resources, even when we feel like we're alone.
good for you.
When
Good
it
for you.
comes to your show itself, what's the synopsis of the show?
Which one? Pet
The
Pals?
Pet Pals, yeah.
Pet Pals TV is the celebrates the bond between humans and animals.
Yeah.
We also appreciate those in the wild,
Uh-huh.
understanding education, conservation. Most people who care about their pets also care about,
Sure.
living things. So again, try to help you when you get an animal as a pet. Know what you're getting.
Hmm.
I don't care if it's a gerbil or a chihuahua or a mini schnauzer, a cat.
Yeah.
Uh, know what you're getting and take care of it for life.
Yeah, for life,
Because
and
they
that's an
give
important.
you
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you
yes.
off, but that's an important thing. Is you want to really understand the responsibility of it. It's not something you can just have. Like a bird, they live for what, 40, 50 years? I
Oh,
didn't
they
know
can live over
that.
100
Oh my
years, over
gosh,
a
that's
hundred years. Yes, yes,
yeah. So,
depending on what you get.
hmm.
And birds are so. When I've never had a bird. I've had everything else in the world, but I had bunnies, ducks. I've had all that
Yeah.
when I was a kid. Turtles. Only child had all the animals. At one time, I went outside and took all the ants crawled up on me, and I took them in and showed to my mother. That didn't go over very well. I even had a
I
worm
can't
farm.
imagine.
That's true.
Oh, that's so funny.
But so what you need to know is know what you're getting.
Hmm.
Birds, they will also they connect very one on one.
Hmm.
If you have a bird that goes, "I love you," that's it forever.
Oh,
So if you say, "Well, yeah, I've had this bird, and I'm going to get married now, and I don't want this bird anymore, so I'm going to give it away," they'll pluck all their feathers out.
oh,
I mean,
really?
they self-destruct because
Oh,
they all misuse. Yeah, I know.
oh, I didn't know
That's
that.
why
That breaks my
also many bird
heart.
owners don't have a mirror because they'll fall in love with their own image.
Oh, really?
And birds, isn't that funny?
That's hysterical. I know a few people who do that as well.
I knew you were going to say that.
Oh,
So know what you're getting,
yeah.
know the lifespan, know what they require.
Uh-huh.
Also, in the times that we're going through now, if you or someone in your family is sick or ill, make sure you have a place for your animal to go. I'm seeing a lot of people who haven't made my animals are in my will, so I know
Yeah,
what they'll be
that's
taken care
wonderful.
of. But sometimes your extended family may not want them. Um,
And that's really something I think to discuss. Like I consult with a lot of people around the world, and a lot of people are very fearful of that. And so once again, this information can also be used for when there's not a pandemic, but you always want to have some type of plan for that. What are some suggestions you're having for people to come up with a plan? So let's say they're a single person who lives alone, and worst case scenario, they get ill. What are some options of what they can do?
Well, I'm dealing with a group right now, only in Indiana, but hopefully will expand. It's called Forever We Love.
Mm,
Forever, Fur, ever we love. And what she does is she takes in animals, dogs at this point, that their owners are either in hospice or they
mm,
know they're dying or they've already passed.
wow.
And as I said, many times the family does not want this animal.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge. I'm just
Sure,
going
of
to say
course.
that
Yeah.
she takes in the and she finds them then a home. I've tried to give her some publicity so she can
Hmm.
expand that.
Sure.
I would say the best thing to do was to make sure you put them in your will.
Yeah.
I mean, that way they're taken care of. Or find a friend who says, "I want your dog,"
Hmm.
if they know that
Yeah.
you're not feeling well. Even something may happen. Maybe you're in an accident. We should do the right thing and take care of our animals. And I said accident. There's a siren going by. That's funny. Um,
That's funny.
so We can't plan for all the contingencies in life and the accidents, but try to do the best you can.
Hmm.
And I always say, if you have the love of an animal, you're never alone and you're
Yeah.
never lonely.
Yes.
So, and that's helped me through the years. So I want to take care of them because they've
Yeah.
taken care of me.
They certainly are. And in psychology, we actually talk about obviously emotional support animals. A lot of times people, um, like my dog has worked with me with my patients for years, so he literally is an emotional support animal. But you'll see a lot of people who may have animals, let's say, in restaurants or in airplanes, and a lot of people automatically have their assumption of this is, someone's trying to beat the system by having an emotional support animal. What people don't really realize is the point of an emotional support animal is not only is it the soothing aspect of one's emotions, but the tactile touch. So if I touch an animal, the sensory pads on my fingers automatically creates dopamine in my brain, which and also releases what's called a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is another feel-good chemical that it's a social bonding chemical. So if you're anxious, if you're depressed, if you're overwhelmed, the simple petting motion of a pet stimulates so many neurotransmitters within us, which causes people who do have depression or anxiety to all of a sudden lower their heart rate, be able to find that stillness, and be able to generate just a sense of peace. And so that's why it's so important for all of us, or whomever may have some type of depression or anxiety or anything that they're struggling with, is to simply take that time to pet your pet. You'll find that it quickly reduces all those emotions that you're feeling.
I think they're all emotional support
I know,
animals.
right?
They are for me.
They are for me
But
too.
remember, service animals and service dogs can go everywhere.
They certainly can.
Emotional support is for when you have the doctors or
Yeah, someone
psychologists,
like me.
psychiatrists permission, and they write down, and that helps you on housing and airplanes.
Yes.
Airplanes, remember, make their own rules. They can do, because now they've started to ban some breeds.
Sure.
And then there are therapy dogs, and therapy dogs love everybody.
Yes.
They go and they let the kids read to them at the library, and they go to the schools, and they go to the nursing homes. So there are different things, and respect that. Please, please, please don't buy a fake service dog vest over the internet for
Yes.
$49 or whatever. Because what you're doing is you're taking your dog that's untrained out, who may go poo-poo on the floor or lash out at a real service dog. Service dogs are trained to be looked at just that person.
Yes.
And you'll notice when you go out, if you see a dog who's like most dogs are, oh, look, I'm looking around. That's not a service dog.
Exactly.
Service dog is focused on that person. And if you take your dog out because you want to take him to a restaurant, you're hurting the people who really need their service dogs.
Exactly.
People who are blind. I have a gentleman friend of mine. He has no arms and no legs.
Oh my
He
goodness.
needs that service
Yes,
dog.
he certainly does. Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. Sometimes those folks need something too. These dogs are specially trained, and their eye is on their owner, their trainer, the whole time. They're not looking around, and they're trained to do a function for that human being. Whereas maybe you just want to take your pet out and have fun. I totally understand that, but realize who you might be hurting is the people who really need them.
And I appreciate you saying that. And the other thing that people should also realize is, even if you see a dog, you need to ask the owner if you can pet the dog, because usually they're working. They're actually working, and so
actually,
we don't want.
Dogs, you shouldn't pet them.
Exactly. You should not pet them. It's obviously, you would never pet like a canine with a police dog because they're working. It's the same concept as well. So this has been absolutely.
But the therapy dog, again, therapy dogs are like, pet me, love me, love me, love me. Service dog is working. He's working.
Yes.
Don't touch him.
Yeah.
He has a job to do.
Yes, he does. Well, Patty Spitler, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on my show today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join with us, to tell us your life story, to inspire us, and to also give us more information about our amazing furry friends. So thank you so much.
And now what I want you to do, James, I want you to send me a picture of your doggie with you, and I'm going to put it on Pet Pals TV.
Oh, thank you.
With swords. So send me some pictures. Go to petpalstv.com. Shameless plug. Petpalstv.com. Petpalstv.com. Send me your pictures, and maybe say you heard it on James' Lifeology show. And James, you send me some pictures too.
I will do that. Thank you so much. My listeners also know that if not able to find any of this information in the show, simply go to either James Miller or lifeology.com or lifeology.tv, and I will link you with all of Patty's links. Thank you so much, Patty, for being a fantastic guest today. Thank you so much.
I love a man who shares my links. Thank you very much.